FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
If Senator Obama wins, I think it's fairly clear that you're going to get more people like Breyer. I mean, his judicial philosophy is much more moderate, and although I do agree with what Linda said, there'll be if Senator Obama is the president when David Souter steps down, there'll be pressure on him to select somebody that's to the left of David Souter. There's no question that they're going to want to reestablish some more liberal credential on the court than there currently is. I predict they're not going to succeed at it, but they'll make an effort. On the Republican side, as I said earlier, I think that stare decisis will be a critical question. And if the answer is yes, and they'll be asked on Brown. I don't know they'll be asked on Marbury, but they'll be asked on Brown. They'll be asked on Roe. They'll be asked on Griswold. And I don't think, I can't take a position on that prior to going on the court's going to work, because I think you're going to have 54 at a minimum, maybe 56 Democrats in the Senate. And even with, Harry Reid, Bob Casey being anti-choice, I think, given their own track record, they will not vote to confirm somebody who's going to overturn that decision. But I still think it's possible to find somebody who has not ruled on it. And on Roe, anyway, to find an Alito and put him on the court. And there's a counter opinion on that the Democratic Senate will not allow somebody who they even think will overturn Roe. So there's an argument out there that they won't do it. I'm just personally skeptical that they'll succeed. My concern is not so much with well-established precedent, because they've been nibbling away at Roe for some time. I'm not as concerned about well-established precedent as new case law that is established by a court that, as I indicated earlier, rules that the federal government cannot regulate carbon, that the federal government cannot intervene in a workman compensation case, or the federal government cannot intervene in something that's actually a new subject before the court, where they will establish a precedent, and that precedent will remain for some time, because I don't think, even if God forbid the Republicans could come back in a significant majority, I think even in their case they're not likely to put somebody up that's going to be in the Bork model of answering the question yes on stare.
I think what you'd see beyond these hot button issues would be development of case law that would be sort of beneath the radar for most people, but I think is an inherent part of the John Roberts project, which is, for instance, on standing issues. So who has standing to sue in a range of areas that we assume, for instance, taxpayers standing to challenge government spending on behalf of religion. So the Flast against Cohn line of cases, the court came very close in the 2006-2007 term to saying taxpayer standing goes back some decades to say no more taxpayer standing to challenge. That would be that kind of and implied private rights of action in statutory areas where Congress hasn't spoken distinctly. So the question for the court in a case of statutory construction, which is about half the docket, by the way, would be, okay, does an individual have the right to invoke the protection that this statute seems to offer by going to court saying, this applies to me? The court is very down on implied private rights of action and has come close to basically ruling them out, but it doesn't quite have the power to do that. So be things like that. So at the end of the day, it wouldn't be, a bunch of famous precedents that would be lying in shreds, but the court would be backing out of being the arbiter of, a lot of disputes that many of us just assume, based on, the modern course of jurisprudence, are properly the role of the court to sort out.
I hadn't thought of that until just now. That would be very high on my list, the right of private action, because that's a significant reduction in individual power. Either with a large business or a large part of government. It'd be exceptionally difficult, it seems to me, to get the balance right.